Hey everyone, welcome back to Teenager Therapy. I'm Gael.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Kayla.
I'm Isaac.
Isaac.
Isaac!
Welcome.
For any new
Thank
listeners,
you.
Isaac is actually one of the founding members of Teenager Therapy who left
Yes.
a year ago to go to
Yeah.
Berkeley. And then
Yep.
more recently left for another 4 months to study abroad
In London.
in London.
It was all across Europe.
I
Yep.
know.
Traveled everywhere.
We saw.
Yeah.
We saw.
We saw. I'm so jealous you got to see the Northern Lights.
Dude, it's
That-
overhyped. Like the
Oh.
worst.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
No fucking way.
Like you can't see it unless you take like a picture.
Oh.
Or you can kind of see it, but once you take the picture, that's when you see all the green.
It's a lot brighter in the picture.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Well, did you have fun studying abroad?
Yeah, I met a lot of new people and London's like craziest
I bet you did.
city ever.
I feel like the coolest thing about studying abroad through school and not just moving abroad alone is that when you study abroad, you actually are forced to meet people. Because I know when you just move out of the country, it's kind of lonely. So it's nice to hear you met people. Do you think you found more people that you connected with because you like spent so much time together and like had similar goals and stuff?
Yeah, especially because like we're in a foreign country. You really have no one else but those people like from your program. So like in my flat and my roommate, like I really got close with them and a lot of other people like in my year.
Yeah, that sounds nice. Because this episode, we want to talk about, I don't know, it's not necessarily cutting people off. It's just different friends throughout life and the different types of people you meet. And I feel like now that we're 2 years into college, we have more experience as to all the different types of people that are out there, the ones that are good for us, the ones that maybe aren't so good for us. Because I think we hear a lot of older people say, and constantly tell us that you'll meet lots of people, you'll outgrow your friends, and that's okay. So I'm curious if you guys, after these 2 years of college, felt like you've outgrown your friends, especially Isaac, Thomas, and Kayla, since I think you all kind of moved to different areas.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really keep in touch with a lot of people from high school, which is kind of sad because I did enjoy those people. It's just we don't have the time anymore, and there's no reason to really see each other
I
unless like to
agree.
catch up.
And I think also, like, after you spend a lot of time away from home and you don't see your friends from home for like a long time, and then you do hang out with them, you sort of just realize how different you guys are. And you guys were really only, okay, I don't want to say you guys were friends only because you were at home or anything, but you realize that that was really the main foundation of like the friendship. It's like you guys were all in close proximity. You guys went to the same schools together for literally like since middle school to high school. So of course you're going to be friends. But I think after having that time away, I sort of realized just our personalities and our goals are just misaligned. And it feels more like you have to put an effort into keeping the friendship than is needed.
Yeah.
That's so trippy to me because I feel like it makes me doubt, like, were we ever even friends? Like,
I
did we just, were we
agree,
just
yeah.
pretending we got along, or did we actually get along? And then
But-
it may spiral, like, what is getting along? What is this? What does it feel like?
I think we did actually get along because in the moment, you know, I did think like this person is my real friend, like ride or die. But now it's just I view it differently. But that doesn't invalidate what I felt in the moment.
Yeah. I mean, high school was just such a different time than college.
For sure.
And so it's obvious that we were going to grow. And why did it get so much?
I know.
Yeah.
But we grew with like so much other people. Like we have a whole new set of friends now. And so it's weird to still have them around
Mm-hmm. And
because you get along with them more now, or at least for us. And then we hang out with our old friends and it just doesn't feel as genuine.
I agree. And friends from college now, it just seems like we're just more aligned in where we want to go in life. And it makes things easier because it sort of makes it feel more long term, like it can go past college. But again, we think that for high school friends too. So it's like you never know. But I have sort of been thinking about this when it's sort of weird when you have like an anchor to home besides your family, you know, like a close friend that's from home, or like best friend, or like boyfriend, girlfriend, and they're from home. And it's just sort of like a reminder of like I don't want to be associated with this place anymore, you know?
Why don't you want to be associated with it?
Just because I feel like I've outgrown it in a way. Don't get me wrong. I think there's so much comfort in home. Like OC in general is just very comforting. It's calm. But I realize that because it's much more slower paced than it is at school, where at school I feel like I need to do this, this, and this. Home is more like, okay, I can relax a little bit. And that's nice, but only for a little bit.
Okay.
Because and then I find myself just literally not doing anything. I don't have any motivation to do anything. And I just find myself stuck in a cycle that I see other people from high school that are in, you know? And I'm like, okay, I can see why it's so easy to just fall into like not trying to achieve anything more, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You especially feel it during like the longer breaks when you come back.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because you're just here, and of course you see all your friends, and not to say that they're not successful or anything, but you just outgrown them. Because like in high school, you think I'm never gonna outgrow these people, but you just never really think about it in high school. Like maybe it's just because you haven't matured yet. But once you're in college, you really think like you want to surround yourself with people who can help you grow and help you think. And just coming back here, like as bad as it sounds, I just feel like some people, like especially the people I had friends before, they just don't help me that way.
I agree.
High school was just about having fun. Like
Yeah.
we didn't have any big responsibilities or things to worry about. So that's why it was easy to get along, because we didn't have to think about anything. Just had to fuck around.
Yeah.
Yeah, like fun's good and all, but now it's just like there's more to just fun, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. And well, it's so odd, the concept of outgrowing people, because it's not even, I don't even know if I like using the term outgrowing. Because that almost makes it sound like I'm too good for you, or that we can't enjoy each other's presence anymore.
Like the other side hasn't grown. Or
Mm-hmm.
something. Yeah.
Exactly. And I don't know what term I would use it to describe this feeling, because I think I have friends who I enjoy their presence, but it's just different. It's different. There's different, I don't know if it's levels or goals, but there's something there.
Outgrow, I don't necessarily mean like maturity. It's just you're just on such different paths in life, like even in such different areas, that it's not likely that we can form a genuine connection still, given the circumstances. That's what I mean by outgrow. I don't mean like, oh, I'm better than you because
Yeah.
I'm doing this or that. It's just we don't have the time for each other anymore.
Yeah, because I mean, that's exactly what I mean when I say outgrow. I just think, I wish there was a better way to describe it.
I agree, because sometimes it can sound like pretentious.
Yeah,
Like,
I've outgrown everyone.
Yeah.
I can't, but then it's like, but I still enjoy their presence sometimes. So if I've truly outgrown them, how can I still?
I mean, I think like it's different with close friends and just like friends, you know? Because like, yes, you can outgrow some friends, but like still hang out with them and like have a good time. But that can't go into something deeper, because there's just too many implications with it. Like, you can still be friends with them, but it's just harder to form like a deeper connection.
I think what I like to see it as is just friends that inspire you versus ones that don't. And so it's not necessarily that I have outgrown you or anything like that. It's just like right now we're two different people and we don't inspire the best out of each other because our ambitions, our goals are misaligned. And that's something that is, I don't know, it's very odd in the way that it makes me doubt. Like I said earlier, it makes me doubt. It's like, well, what did we ever enjoy at the time? And I think that the point about like, well, it was just high school back then, is that, yeah, as you leave your teen years and as you grow into a young adult and you enter your 20s, life becomes a lot more complicated than just about having fun and enjoying your youth. Now you have to figure out where you want to get to in life and what kind of people inspire you and motivate you to do that. And I think it makes me sad to know that like some friends will never do that, or will, it never was that. It was just about having fun. So I guess it's like a different type of connection. I don't know. Yeah.
I think it makes it so hard because you don't know what exactly to do with those friends who you've like found only for fun. They don't really inspire you, but you still enjoy their presence.
Yeah.
Such as friends that you have like back at home. So
yeah, that's what's the weird part of like where does like our bond go now. And I think that's why I don't think you should cut those people off, because I think if you go on TikTok you see a lot of people being like, cut off the friends that don't inspire you, cut off the friends you've outgrown. And it's like, guys, you don't need to cut them off. You just see them less, you talk to them less, and every once in a while when it makes sense, when there's an excuse to bring everyone together, it is nice to like reminisce and all of that.
And who knows, maybe in the future your paths will align. Like
exactly,
they'll grow and change while you're not there, and then in the future you can like create that bond again.
I think those are the types of connections that get me excited. And what makes me excited about the future is I wonder if people that I feel like I've outgrown now in the future might like align again. Which is cool, because I think a lot of us are changing so much during this time and doesn't really stabilize until later in life. And so maybe later it's like, okay, like we get along. And I'm excited to experience that, because it's like a new person, but it's like discovering a new person that you already know, but they're just so radically different.
I mean, for you guys, like, how has it been, like, outgrowing friends since you're still like in the area?
Well, yeah, I guess I never went to college or left or moved anywhere, so I've still been in the same place my entire life, surrounded by more or less the same people, which, if you know, that I've talked about, has made it difficult to find connection, because I think I have always felt slightly out of place or lonely. And I think a lot of that just came from not feeling like the people around me understood me or had similar goals as me. And so it was difficult to connect with them on a deeper level. And how did I deal with it? Honestly, I think I learned to cope with it by doing a lot of growing on my own. I would say that's the best that I did, because I didn't have a lot of friends that inspired me to do better. It was like, I mean, it's up to me regardless, so I'll just inspire myself. And so thankfully, I don't think I've ever been one to stay stuck on that dangerous path of staying in your hometown and not growing and just getting used to like the same routine, the same people, and not really wanting to do much else. I think I've always been at least disciplined enough to do it, even if there's no one there with me. Although I am hoping like eventually I find a lot of like people in close by that can inspire me to have similar goals, same interests and such. But the other thing about this episode that I wanted to talk about is when you and your friends have different values. And sometimes those friends might have problematic values. I think that's something that I struggle with a lot of times, because you see it all the time on the internet. It's like, why is this celebrity still friends with this person, even though they're so problematic and have said all these things? Like, why are they still friends? And I think I'm experiencing some of that, and I've experienced it for a while. Is I look at some of the friends I have around me, and I don't agree with their values or their beliefs or some of their opinions. And so it makes me think, like, because like people say, you are who you hang out with. So if you hang out with like bad people, you are more likely to be a bad person. So I feel like I've struggled with that a lot, because I don't know, it's just hard to know what to do with those friends, because I think I've always tried to, like, maybe I can change them.
No, I think it's just natural for like humans to pick up on like others' habits, and especially like if it's a friend group back home compared to the one at your university or wherever, you'll just pick up on those bad habits. Like already, I can tell based on from my friends in London or from Berkeley and here, I've already picked up on some bad habits, and in the end, it's up to you to grow. But definitely, your environment can affect you like majorly.
So I guess like my question for you guys is, how do you make sure that you don't like let those bad habits get out of control? Or like, do you do anything to try to tell your friends anything, or like how do you work in that dynamic, I guess?
Well, I know for me, I think I have some problematic friends with problematic beliefs. What's difficult is that it's not as easy as just don't be friends with them anymore, because there's so much history. And so the big question is, should it be as simple as just cut them off? Like if they're saying things that are wrong, you just remove them from your life? Or is it a little bit more complicated than that? And are friendships more nuanced than just cut people off as soon as they say something problematic? So I think for me, what I've always done is I think I called them out a lot, which, one, I think is draining for me. Two, it makes me feel dumb sometimes, because I'm like, oh, every time we hang out, I'm like criticizing you for something. But it's also like, I feel guilty for just letting it slide and just like letting it pass and such. So that's really hard to manage.
Yeah, just holding that friend accountable, it can get really draining. So sometimes, like I'll just let things slide, and I know I'm letting it slide in the moment, but it takes so much effort, and it's so hard because it just happens like commonly. So the only option is to cut the friend off. But then again, all that history, it just feels like cutting off would be too dramatic or whatever, and it'd just be really hard because you still value the presence of that friend, but the things they say, you just don't.
Yeah.
To what extent can you be friends with someone who has problematic behavior and values?
I think it's because like their problematic behavior is not, I mean, directed towards me, but I just hear about it, and so I know it's a bad thing, but just that history I have with the friend just takes over.
And I also think for me, the way I see it is, if there's some behavior that I have an issue with keeps happening, and first I think I do my best to like tell them why it's wrong. So I give them that chance first to like change for a bit. But I think in a lot of friendships, I have got to a point where I know maybe that's just who they are as a person. And two, it's just not my job or responsibility to fix them, or quote unquote fix them, help them, whatever. So I think I just end up associating myself less and less with them, but never quite having a big dramatic, I don't want to be friends with you, I don't want to talk to you. It's just like you just spend less time with them, which I think is a lot more sustainable, because it's like it leaves room for like maybe years down the line, like they changed and you could still, you never were on bad terms, and it's better than having that tension of knowing you guys hate each other or you had a big fight. It's just like, I just have different values. Like it's not,
But also, I think it can be that easy to cut someone off.
I think it's
if
easy,
necessary. Yeah. Like there are people whose values I don't fuck with, and it's so easy, just cut them off because you don't owe them anything. You don't owe them any friendships or anything. It's if your morals don't align, how can you be friends with them? That's the thing that kind of confuses me, is that I see people being friends with like people who have done like pretty fucked up things, or they've said fucked up things, and like why? And like these people, like they complain about it, they criticize them, they're like, I really don't like that they're saying this, like it bothers me. But at the end of the day, you're still friends with them, and you're, if anything, enabling them because you're still friends. So at what point is it like kind of on you to sever ties? And I don't know.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
problematic behavior. So in London, like I had a lot of experiences because I remember, I think before I went to college, I told you guys I didn't want to deal with any drama during college. Like that's the last thing I want to deal with. But I think it's inevitable, like making friends and meeting new people, for drama to happen. And I think London helped me grow because the people that I was close with were really good at being confrontational and just cutting off people like they didn't fuck with.
Really?
Yeah, and so we had some experiences with people saying some stuff we just didn't agree with, and we just cut them out, like literally just like that.
But
It's really
I
that
think-
easy.
But
I think
yeah.
in that context, it might have been easier for you guys to cut
Yeah.
them out because you didn't have a long history with
Yeah,
them.
that's
Whereas
why-
your friends now, it's like
Yeah,
you guys have known each other since literally children. So
yeah, that's what I was gonna mention. So that's why earlier in my case, when I was talking about it's hard to kind of cut someone off, I was just talking about for example, like a childhood friend you had since elementary, kindergarten, whenever, and they just meet your family knows them, and it's just really hard to cut them off because they're not only tied to you, they're tied to your family, and you know they'd be heartbroken if you just weren't friends anymore.
I get that. But also it's like disappointing to see that even though you hold them accountable, they don't change.
Yeah,
And it's just the same pattern over and over again. And you are forced to maintain that relationship just because they're connected with like your family and like other stuff, or like friends of friends. I think that is often the case with me, is that I have to be surrounded by other people that I don't necessarily agree with because they're friends of friends, and I can't like do anything about that.
I think for me, I'm also just not brave enough to cut someone off because I think it's harder when you don't have too many people, and so to make that decision to be alone is difficult. I think it's a lot easier if I have like a really close friend that I know is always going to be there. Yeah, it's a lot easier to be like, I don't want to be friends with this other person that isn't aligned. And also I think it's like, what was I going to say? What cutting people off to me means isn't some sort of dramatic breakup or anything. I think it just means associating with them less, so not making plans, actively not really being in their presence as much, not talking as much. I don't think it has to be some like,
No, it doesn't.
You
Like,
know?
just stop messaging them. Don't reciprocate the energy,
yeah.
and they'll get the hint. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be something big. Because that's
Yeah.
literally what happened freshman year of college. So
Really?
yeah,
With college friends?
yeah, drama is. Me too,
inevitable.
Isaac. I thought
Yeah.
drama wasn't going to follow me to college, but it did, and
It is inevitable because some people just live like to cause drama. I don't know why. It's too problematic.
Or you just meet people that are, you're just so different,
Yeah.
and they say things that are just unbelievable. Like, I don't know. I've met so many people that just, they don't understand like
yeah. I have.
I don't know.
mind.
social cues. Like, they don't know that,
Yeah.
and they'll just say everything on their mind.
Yeah.
And
Like,
babe, you gotta chill it. Like,
you
maybe
cannot
it
fathom
slid
it.
back in your hometown, but it's not gonna slide here.
no, for real. It kind of gets me on. It's like, how can somebody just say all this stuff? It just
It's
feels
more
like they
common
lack
than you
common
think.
sense. It is, yeah, it's
Yeah.
common. Trust. But God, going back to what you said earlier, I feel like in my experience, I've just never really tried to have a serious confrontation with friends who I find not problematic, but they said problematic things. I've just never really tried it.
That's
and
also
I'm
like-
just wondering, what would the response be? What would happen?
But like, okay, also, how many problematic things can they say that'll make them problematic? Like, what's the difference between being problematic and just saying problematic?
Well, I feel
things?
like if you do a problematic action, you're considered problematic. But they just like said something about a certain like situation or
okay.
a bad like take about something that I've never talked to them about.
Yeah, that's what's tricky is like, are they a bad person or have they said interesting stuff? And so when
Yeah.
is it like, okay, that you are just that's just bad character, or it's just that was a dumb opinion you had?
And also, there's
yeah.
a difference between being judgmental and just being fucked up.
Oh.
Yeah.
So,
For sure.
yeah.
I don't think they're a bad person because, like, typically, let's say their opinion goes towards yours. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means your values don't align. And you don't always have to be friends with someone whose values are different.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh gosh.
What counts them as a bad person? I mean, I guess the problematic action of, like, things like essay and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Obviously.
Racism.
All those things.
People that are just genuinely judgmental. Like I think it just goes in their character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have the answers. If
Yeah.
you can, if you can tell,
We're still figuring it out.
Yeah. Or I mean, for me, I just cut them off. I just stopped talking to them. I don't know. You just
It's okay, I'll pick it up after.
you can't be a people pleaser all the time, and if you don't want, if you don't want to be friends with someone, you don't have to be.
Yeah, don't waste your energy pleasing
Mhm.
people. It's one of the most draining
Yeah.
things that just gets you nothing out of it. It's not your problem that someone else is problematic. Just cut them out.
I feel like, thankfully, I haven't had many situations where I've had like a really, really problematic friend. And I think that's just because early on, I try to recognize their traits. Like this can be bad, but I sort of just see more so the negative than the positive. Especially if it's more transparent in a person, then I'm like, okay, I know I'm not going to waste my time trying to like be friends with you or anything, you know? So thankfully that has saved me some time. But of course, it's inevitable, especially, you know, friends of friends or friends that you've been with since like high school or whatever. But those are just a lot more tricky because there's so much to unpack.
It's always a friends of friends.
Friends of
Friends
friends.
of friends.
Wait, whenever my friends bring their friends, shit goes down.
Like, let me know the list.
And it's just a problem of when you consider someone a friend, because I felt like in the past I considered people friends too quick when they should just be like an acquaintance. So then again, later on, I'm like, maybe I should cut off that friend, but they should have never been a friend in the first place.
Yeah. I get what you mean by that. And also, who is... Yeah. I don't know. Who is
responsible?
I feel like I have thoughts on everything. My brain is not working, and so I can't
I get that because I feel like
think of
everything
anything.
leads to something else, and then it leads
Yeah.
to something
Yeah,
else,
it's a lot.
And I wish I was more organized with my thoughts because I
Same.
just
Yeah,
It's
just
okay.
yeah.
It's been a long day.
long day.
Girl, we just woke
It's
up.
2 p.m.
It's been long for me.
Yeah. No, yeah. I suppose really the thoughts is just that I don't fuck.
Yes.
Oh, I hate when I feel like this.
100%.
I hate when I feel like this. It's like when I like feel like I just want to sleep and be like, "Ooh."
It's okay.
I have nothing to say. I think I'm just figuring
I
out.
feel like we said like everything, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Moral of the story, it's tricky figuring out, are you friends? Are you acquaintances? Are you close? Are you associating with them? Are you not? What does associating with them mean? Gosh. Well, thank you for listening.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
You seem so unsatisfied,
Yeah.
guy.
I am, because I'm like, I feel like there's nothing going on in my brain at all. I hate repeating myself, so.
It's okay. That's a sign to end it so we don't ramble.
Right?
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Short and sweet. So think about your friends. Think about your values, because I think something that happens when you start your career, when you enter your 20s, is a lot of people start realizing, oh shit, I'm not considered a kid anymore. I have to develop values and opinions and form my own traits that I have in myself and that I want to surround myself with and the people around me. So if your friendships feel unfulfilling, if you have lots of people around you, yet you'd still feel alone, I feel like that's probably because there's a mismatch in the values of the people around you and what you need and want in someone. So, yeah. Good luck with figuring all that out. A lot to journal about.
Yeah.
A lot to journal about. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. One of our last episodes of the year. So one of our last ones. Like,
Damn.
That's so
I think this
weird.
is the second to last, maybe. Gosh.
2022. Wow. Like
Insane.
It went quick.
it went by really fast.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Anyways.
I feel like 2023 just doesn't look like a real year.
It doesn't sound
It's not-
real.
yeah.
2023. It doesn't
Three.
flow.
The year we enter our 20s.
Whoa. Ew.
Goodbye teenager
mean-
therapy.
Ew, but like not ew, but
But
ew.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I'm excited.
I just don't know what to expect.
I know.
It's gonna be anticlimactic. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You're 20.
It's not 21. It's just 20.
That's a
But, like,
big
that's
year.
Big. You're
It is
no
big.
longer
21
a teen.
isn't big.
Really?
I think that's just like a fun year. Like 20 is like,
Yeah.
whoa.
No, but 20 is like an oh shit like moment.
Aren't you going to be 20 in January?
Yeah. Why do you have to remind me? I was trying not to mention that. Shut up.
Our
that's
first
weird,
20-year-old
Isaac.
in the group.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the oldest.
Are you excited, Isaac?
I'm kind of excited, yeah.
You're gonna be surrounded by teens.
Yeah. Oh, I can't surround myself
Yo,
with teens
teens.
anymore.
You're gonna outgrow
Dude,
us.
I still think of myself as a minor. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should not be considered an adult, bro.
God, I'm only impressive because I'm still in my teen years. Once I reach 20, it's like I'm an average 20-year-old.
yeah.
Ugh,
Yeah.
disgusting. Well, thank you all so much for listening. I hope you have a Merry Christmas. If you're celebrating the holidays or whatever you
Happy
celebrate.
holidays.
Happy
Yeah.
Happy
holidays.
holidays. Yeah. Thank you for listening, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.